that you should be using. Now, rather than saying Photoshop versus Lightroom, what we really should be saying is Photoshop and Lightroom. Most photographers, in the industry will be using both programs, as both programs play important roles in our photography. So Lightroom mainly is the program where you're going to be doing the majority of your editing. Okay, so the whole idea of Lightroom is that it's a digital assets management program. Now, what that means is that it's a way for us to organize all of our images, all of our photographic files. Okay, so we can create folders within Lightroom, and what's happening is that they're actually created on our computers. Okay, so Lightroom doesn't store our photographs, it's simply an interface that we can use to navigate through all of our photographs. We can create new folders on the computer through Lightroom. We can rate our photographs as well to make a decision about which ones that we want to work on and so on. It's a huge program in terms of being able to organize ourselves, and as photographers, even just with a cross section of photographs here, you can see there's a huge amount of them, and it can get very, very confusing when you've got so many photographs to work on. So Lightroom is all about managing these photographs, and there's a huge amount more in depth that we can do with them as well. It's a very extensive program, which is why we do have a course on it separately as well. But just to show you quickly, as you can see here, we have loads of different photographs, and each of these photographs are in their own folders as well, so it's possible to break these down and have a look at these photographs in their own separate folders and so on too. But I'm going to quickly select a photograph, and we're going to do a little bit of work on it here in Lightroom. So Lightroom is not just about organising ourselves, it is about working on our photographs too. So as you can see here coming across the top, we've got a few different options. You can make books within Lightroom. It's possible to tag our photographs as well, using the map, so that when we click on a photograph, it'll actually show us where we took the photograph in the world and so on. But we're going to click develop here for the moment. Develop will allow us to do work to our shot. Okay, so we have a lot of presets that we can use straight away if we want to get experimental within Lightroom. There's a massive amount of presets here available for us. You can see some black and white presets and so on as well if you want to do some quick editing. But we can open up our panel here as well and start to do some work. Now, Lightroom will allow us to work on RAW, JPEG, TIFFs, any type of image file, and it's a safe way of working on our photographs as it utilizes what's called a catalog system. Okay, so won't go too much in depth into what a catalog system is, but basically it is a very, very safe way of working on our photographs, and it's ideal then if you happen to be working in JPEGs at the moment as well. It's a safer way of working in JPEGs. Now, just bear in mind the disadvantage of working on a JPEG file is that there's some embedded changes into the files already that cannot be undone. So I've just done some very, very quick adjustments there just to give you some sort of an idea of what is possible within Lightroom. So you can see here we've corrected the white balance of the photograph, increased the exposure of the photograph a little bit more, helped to bring out some of the details and so on here in the shot. But where does Photoshop then come into play with this? Well, say I wanted to do some more creative changes to it, and also perhaps I wanted to remove some of the elements here in the photograph as well. This is where Photoshop is going to come into play. Lightroom does have some tools for healing and removing objects, but nowhere near as extensive as Photoshop. So let's quickly bring up Photoshop, and we've got the same photograph here now, and Photoshop then is a far more extensive program. Photoshop is used by so many people in the image industry, not just for photographers, and it can look very daunting for that reason. There's so many tools within Photoshop. It's capable of so much. It's a much more creative program. Okay, so graphic designers would use Photoshop to create content from scratch and so on. But let's just do some quick adjustments to this. So what I'm going to do here is quickly make a copy of my layer. Okay, so if you want more information about Photoshop, I strongly recommend you check out Phil's Photoshop course, where he teaches you, the absolute basics, and then, straight on through to the advanced Photoshop course as well, where you'll have you'll be an absolute master of Photoshop by the end of it. So what I'm going to do here quickly is I'm going to just make a quick selection just around some of these objects here. I'll just undo that, try that again, just to give you an idea of what we can do. So if I've highlighted a rock here, I'd like to get rid of that rock, so I can fill that here. I'm going to go content aware and see, bam. It's incredible, absolutely incredible how quickly you can make some adjustments within Photoshop. Now, something like this might be a little bit more complicated, but let's just see how we go with that. Do that again, we'll just fill that in, we use content aware, and it's absolutely incredible. No matter how many times I do that, to a photograph, I'm always wearing bias. But you can see, I've made, because I'm working on a copy, that I'm not destroying the original photograph as well. Now, we can do that more than that as well if we need to do some basic adjustments to our photographs. It is still possible to do that through through this as well. So let's, for example, let's add a filter to this. Okay, so it is possible to get very, very creative to this, and maybe we want to add a little bit of blue to it there again. You can make it very dense, or you can reduce it down and so on. I'll reduce it down a little bit there. And we can also add things like our basic adjustments in terms of, let's say we want to go to our levels. If we're still not happy with the levels of the photograph, we can do some basic adjustments there too. Okay, so it's just to give you a very brief overview of what is possible between the two programs. Okay, so Lightroom, mainly for photographers, is designed for getting the most out of organising our photographs, making things nice and neat and tidy, and doing the majority of changes that we need to do to our shots, where Photoshop then, at least from a photographer's perspective, is all about removing objects, tweaking some photographs if needs be. There's far more you can do as well in terms of you can combine photographs together if you want to create montages, if you need to do extensive retouching and so on as well. You can do that through Photoshop. But for those of you who are moving on with the premium membership, I strongly recommend that you check out both Photoshop and Lightroom courses here with us in Shaw Academy. Thank you very much for joining me for this bonus video. I hope to see you all again soon in the future. Thanks a lot, and bye bye. Hi everyone.